So there is no doubt about it that 2023 was the absolute worst year for the Walt Disney Company for multiple reasons out there, right? The fact that it landed on their 100th anniversary, the fact that they had multiple box office failures, including, by the way, The Marvels, which was one of the worst ones out there for that year. But looking ahead to 2025, they're already off to a terrible start with Snow White, the live-action remake, starring Rachel Zegler as the overall Snow White character, and everything else going on with the CGI dwarves, as well as the storyline, the 5 failed test screenings with the 6th one on the way. There's a lot to discuss here. However, when it comes down to actress Gal Gadot, this is where things get interesting. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, one major factor going into why Snow White 2025 has a lot of drama going along with it is not just limited to the failed test screenings, the lackluster storytelling, the overall mess of a production that it is, but it also has a lot to do with the overall grudge between both Rachel and Gal, and a lot of that has to do with the fact of what Rachel has been posting on social media, such as X, what she actually has done against Gal behind the scenes when it comes to creative differences, and really blaming Gal for different things, and how this led to putting her in a position to take action against Rachel. Let's get into this, shall we? Now, what's interesting about all of this is that we know that they basically should have canceled this movie outright. I think that Disney would save themselves the damage to their overall image, whatever image is left, if there even is an image left at this point. I think that they should just cancel this outright and call it quits. However, with Bob Iger and the Disney board heading into multiple emergency meetings a month over the current status of the Walt Disney Company, one significant development now has more to do with actress Gal and Rachel Zegler in the midst of the Snow White 2025 drama. A crucial update to this situation now involves how there has indeed been a grudge going on between Zegler and Gal, after Zegler blamed the increase in Gal's screen time as the evil queen was through favoritism by director Mark Webb, which resulted in deleted scenes for Rachel from the 3rd act of the film. Now, one shocking turn of events, however, is that Gal did, in response to Zegler, to essentially stand her ground where Gal was initially supposed to sing with Zegler as a duo, essentially, to promote Snow White 25 for a major event during or around the holiday season that was going to be Disney's grand plan to promote the film on ABC and part of their major press tour. As it turns out, Gal was the one who called off the performance and no longer wanted to work with Zegler recently in the public eye, not just after her ongoing social media posts that Zegler has been spewing on X, but also how Zegler treated Gal behind the scenes. In fact, the drama between the two got so intense that Disney executives specifically instructed both Gal and Rachel to at least act friendly in certain circumstances with each other in the public eye while promoting Snow White as much as they can. However, Gal's actions weren't the last ones against Zegler. She also turned down a 2-on-2 interview with Variety that was going to be filmed on video. Gal wanted nothing to do with Zegler standing by her side in the Variety interview for 2025 and specifically instructed Disney that she now no longer wants to do them with Zegler and wants to do them separately instead. One very revealing aspect is that after Zegler was canceled to sing at the world premiere for Snow White 25, Gal reportedly, get this, convinced the Disney heads to provide her a slot or a chance to sing on stage for a special event in that very day in March to take over Zegler's slot and in turn taking the limelight away from Zegler as the Snow White character and as the main lead, and as the main person in the press tour. This is already creating outrage from Zegler and enhancing the grudge between Gal and Rachel. It turns out that Gal convinced Disney to demand Zegler to take down her social media posts that she wrote on X that Gal found to be very offensive and how she was promoting Snow White, and Zegler refused. This is said to what has actually led to Zegler getting fired and removed from all Disney projects moving forward that she had lined up beforehand. Now guys, let me just stop here before I move on, alright? Now, look, we can already see that the overall, promotion of Snow White, their overall PR moves for this movie are a disaster, even before moving in a significant matter. The fact that you have someone like Bob Iger and the Disney executives really trying to figure this out in a frantic way, they don't really know what to do at all. I mean, this is all they're doing, this is all their fault, so there's nobody to blame but themselves at this point. I mean, they are the ones that hired those like Rachel Zegler that are so damaging and difficult to work with. They should have learned their lesson with separate occasions out there. But interestingly enough, the fact that you have someone like Gal really going against Zegler in this fashion is a very big deal. Now look, I want to be very straight with you guys. I'm not the biggest fan of Gal. I mean, she has hit or miss scenarios. She has some good films, some very bad films where her acting is just lackluster as far as I feel. But she is far superior, must I repeat this, far superior than Rachel Zegler ever will be as an actress. Can we make that clear? Let's just make that clear. So, what I find to be very interesting out of this entire scenario is the fact that Disney did in fact cave to Gal's demands to take the limelight away from Zegler. Now, could this have something to do with the fact that the overall evil queen seemingly looks more like, of a better character in the overall movie, looks more like, a better acted character than Zegler's Snow White? It's quite possible that it has a lot to do with that. So, I think at the end of the day, the fact that you have Disney's actions, such as using CGI dwarves instead of using real ones, that's also very offensive, by the way. And there's a lot of other aspects going into this movie that really is just setting itself up for a disaster. But moving on forward, in addition to all of this, Gal is already in serious negotiations with the Disney heads and executives on the press tour for Snow White, on which network she will be seen with Zegler to act friendly with. This is still in a spot where Gal is leaning towards sticking to her own press tour in an isolated way from Zegler until the drama and or issues resolve behind the scenes. Then the performances, however, between the two, as of now, are completely called off, and Disney is in full panic mode over how they will promote Snow White during the Thanksgiving parade and the special holiday season performance, plus the world premiere in March. So those three major performances are no longer going to involve Rachel and Gal side by side on stage. More or less, you're going to have Gal performing on her own, singing on her own. And look, I'm not the biggest, fan of Gal when it comes to her singing. I mean, I think that we all imagine what she did with Imagine, alright? But overall, I think that at the end of the day, this is Disney going into damage control mode behind the scenes. They're trying to do everything in their power to save this movie, to save the press tour, to save the marketing campaign for the movie. We have a full trailer, by the way, coming out in just a short number of months, around November. That'll be also a very revealing aspect of what this overall, campaign, this marketing campaign is going to look like for Snow White 2025. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.